Oh, hello, meettina here. Welcome to my show or to my talk. Today, I'm bringing back Ismael Perez. He's going to be talking about the origin of our cosmic. But however, today's going to be a different stuff they're going to be talking about, different topics.
Yes.
All right, let's dive into it, Ismael. Well, hold on. Before I let you talk, I'm going to share your book because that's very important because a lot of people should not miss this. He's an author and he's a speaker, and this is his book on Amazon.com, guys. So our cosmic origin, just go ahead and grab your copy. All right, it's on Amazon.com, and I'm going to post the link to his book, and then you can buy it. Okay, and then let's get started. Ismael, welcome.
Thank you for having me here, Tina.
No, thank you for being here.
You're welcome. So one of the things that I wanted to share with people was the connection between the blood of King David and the king of Lyra, or the lineage of King David in relationship to the king of Lyra. So the battle between good and evil here in our world is associated around two particular bloodlines. One of them is known as the messianic lineage of priest kings that are considered, they call it the holy blood, the holy grail, the good guys, right? And the other one is a reptilian human hybrid lineage that came to us from Babylonia. And, we could even trace it off world. So throughout history, the Cabal families that have been associated with the domination of the planet are the offspring or the descendants of the Babylonian human reptilian hybrid bloodline. So their enemy has always been the opposite bloodline, known as the bloodline of King David and Solomon from the Bible. Yeah. So the bloodline of King David is actually the same lineage that gave us Jesus and Mary Magdalene, or what we would know as the community of Qumran, the Essenes, who were the keepers of the mysteries and the divine wisdom during the times of Jesus. Jesus was actually the master of the order of the Essenes 2,000 years ago before his crucifixion. The order of the Essenes took that knowledge from an existing secret society that was practiced by King Solomon and David, which was known as the order of the right eye of Horus and the left eye of Horus, and also the order of Melchizedek. But all of these teachings you could actually trace back to ancient Mesopotamia and Egypt, where it originated.
Right.
And so throughout history, the war between good and evil is really about the war between these two different lineages, the human reptilian hybrid Cabal lineage and the divine holy blood of the Holy Grail lineage. So one of the biggest secrets that the secret societies have been keeping from us is that the descendants of Jesus and Mary Magdalene do exist, and that they are well and alive, and they exist and they live among us. And one of the books that put that theory out, or that concept out, was the Da Vinci Code about 13 years ago. When Dan Brown wrote the Da Vinci Code, he wasn't talking about fiction. Even though he wrote it as fiction, it actually preluded to the idea that that this is actually real, that there is a holy blood, some sort of a lineage that could be traced to Jesus and Mary Magdalene. But this lineage goes further than Jesus and Mary Magdalene. To our surprise, and according to my research, this is actually the bloodline that was established on the earth by Zeus, the chief pantheon of the Greek gods, the chief leader of the Greek gods.
Yes.
Well, in the ancient culture, he was known by different names. The ancient Sumerians call him Enlil, the Greeks called him Zeus, and the Hebrews called him El, or Elion, which means the lion. And that's why the animal emblem of the lion has always been associated with the descendants of the lineage of Zeus. And we see that again in the concept of King David, right? The tribe of Judah, the Lion of Judah, Solomon, and then 600 years later, Jesus, Mary Magdalene, who were the descendants of the house of Judah, the original, the real descendants of House of Judah, not the fake imposter Jews that call themselves Zionists today. You know, those
Got
those
it.
yeah, those aren't the real Jews. You know, the Rothschilds and the Khazarian Zionist, you know, cabal. Those are actually imposter Jews. They're trying to pose as the real descendants of the Holy Blood because they know that they're part of the Babylonian reptilian human blood, and that includes the Queen of England and, you know, the Bushes and all the people that have been in power. They're all associated with the Babylonian lineage of the human reptilian hybrids.
So I would say the world leaders, right?
Pretty much, most of the world leaders, yeah, you could say that they're associated, or at least they work for those that carry a high concentration of reptilian human genetics. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so even the story of the Anunnaki was tampered with. You know, the translation of the ancient Sumerian tablets by Sakkara Sitchin were wrong. You know, everything was accurate except the part where they said that Enlil was the bad guy and Enki was the good guy, when in actuality it was the other way around. And the only reason they translated and they flipped the story around is because the last of the documents that were left in ancient Sumeria that were dug out by the archaeologists were actually tampered with by the priesthood of Baal. And guess who Baal was, Tina?
Who?
Marduk, the son of Enki, Poseidon to the Greeks. Enki Poseidon, yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
so now we could see a correlation between the ancient Anunnakis and the gods of mythology.
Yeah, I heard about Anunnaki before, but I always thought Anunnaki was, well, they were bad guys.
No, that's another misconception. Not all
Right.
Anunnaki were bad. The good Anunnaki are actually known as the Enlilites and his children. You know, again, you know, according to the Greeks, he was known as Zeus. According to the ancient Hebrews, he was known as El, or Elyon, which was the protector of the 12 tribes of Israel.
Okay.
And so there was two factions associated with the Anunnaki family. You had the Enkites, the Enkinites, right? That were the people that pretty much rewrote his son Marduk rewrote the ancient Sumerian tablets to make him look like the good guy.
Right.
But those are really the bad guys. See, but Enki, who was known as Poseidon to the Greeks, didn't really, how can I say it? Yes, he was very instrumental in the genetic engineering of Homo sapiens, right? By admixing us with their genes and then mixing it with primitive genes and creating, you know, a different species, right? But at the same time, what they failed to tell us is that they already they took also genetics from an already existing species known as the Tyrannusian race that had 12 strands of DNA, and in order to dumb them down, they created a hybrid that was mixed with primitive genetics, and then that's how we were made. But our original ancestors were actually 12-strand DNA humanoids that lived in Atlantis.
So let me ask you, who are the primitive? Who are the primitive bloodline?
The primitives are the Homo erectus, Neanderthals, or Neanderthals, yeah.
Okay.
So
go on. I don't want to interrupt you. Just go on.
No, go ahead. I'll answer your question. So
like us here, I mean, are we a bloodline of the 12 strand and also the primitive bloodline? Yes, as of 30,000 years ago, only the remnants of the original, 12-strand DNA humanoids were able to survive, and the rest of them died out. So there were no primitives left, nor Neanderthals left after that. I see. So okay. But the thing is, Tina, is that about 90% of the population was mixed with a little bit of the primitive gene, and that's what they call the Rh positive, or the rhesus monkey, the Rh positive blood type. So if you're A, B, or O, but you have a positive, not a negative, that means you, not unfortunately, but that means you carry a primitive genetic within your DNA. That's what that means. If we're positive, right? If you're A, B, or O positive, yes, you carry a similar genetic that is relatable to the chimpanzees and the monkeys. Yes. Oh darn! So I was a descendant of that. No, you're not. Remember, I was telling you how they took an already existing, fully functional 12-strand DNA angelic humanoid, and they downgraded them by admixing them with the primitive gene. So no, they just put a little bit of the primitive genes
in your ancestors in order to kind of lower your level of intelligence.
Oh, wow.
Because the negative Anunnaki, under the auspices of Enki and Marduk, his son, used those people as slaves during the ancient times.
Ah,
So
and what is your blood type?
I'm O negative.
Oh, you're negative. Oh, okay. Oh, it's good. Okay, so go on.
Okay, so going back to the story, the real story of the Anunnaki lies in the fact that everything we know about them is false. Enlil was not the bad guy, because according to the Greeks, he was Zeus. And who was Zeus? According to the stories of the mythologies, he was the chief guardian of the earth. He was protector, custodian of earth, leader of the Council of 12, or the pantheon of the 12 gods, and was in charge of making sure that the humans evolved accordingly to the divine plan. And he even stated that he wasn't a god, that he was just one of the guardians that was here representing the one God. And he called it the unseen God. That's what Enlil Jehovah Zeus called God, the unseen God, which was pure source energy.
So who, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go first. Go ahead.
So who's the real God then?
The real God that is above all extraterrestrials, including those that are above, the Syrian High Council, that was above the Anunnakis and the Iberians, and above the different levels of seraphim and celestials, is pure source. It's what we call prime source, creator source.
Mm-hmm.
It's an energy field.
What about Jesus?
Jesus was the incarnation of Michael. Michael is the overseer of our local universe. Every local universe has a Michael. Yeah. So in religious lore, he's known as Michael the Archangel. So that's what Jesus was. He came from his lineage, because Michael the Archangel was the progenitor of the lineage that gave us Zeus. And then Zeus gave birth to a demigod. And then those were the original Sumerian kings that lived for thousands of years, right? According to the records of the Sumerians. Right. And then from that, we had the father of whoever gave birth to Abraham, like the biblical Abraham. So Abraham came from the priest king lineage of Zeus. And then he gave birth to, his descendant became King David. He carried the highest concentration of that guardian lineage. And then Solomon carried it. That's why Solomon was the wisest man in the world, and, was the ultimate alchemist and wizard during those days. He was like a demigod, right? He used to enslave the demons of Goyish with his power, ring of power. He used to put the demons to work, and all the demons used to fear Solomon. That's because he carried, he was known, the demons feared him because he was part of that lineage and he had that power. And then later, through his descendants, Jesus was born into that same lineage. So Christ, Jesus, was the incarnated creator son of our local universe of Nebadon. Yeah.
Oh, wow. This is quite amazing. So you mentioned about, he's rising again, the Lion King.
Yes, the Lion King is rising again through his descendants. So, okay. Yeah, the Holy Bloodline luckily was preserved by the Knights Templars, who were the good guys during the medieval Dark Ages, agents of the Brotherhood of Light, so that it is associated with the ancient order of Melchizedek, of the Emerald Order. And so the knights were the keepers and protectors of Mary Magdalene's lineage that, later came to France after they sought refuge in India after the crucifixion. And then from India, they came to France. And then from France, they went to Spain and Portugal. And that's why when we study who carried the highest concentration of Rh negative blood type, a lot of it is traceable to the people of Spain, Portugal, and France because of Jesus and Mary Magdalene's lineage.
Oh, wow. That's fascinating to know. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the rise of the king, the rise of the restoration of the kingdom of the lion has to do with the descendants of this bloodline who are well and alive, and who are, due to this transformation that is about to take place, they're going to be the most powerful people ever. They're going to have these amazing godlike superpowers, whoever they are, because it's in their blood. They carry. So
may I ask you, do you know who they are? In this right now, in this existence, or you just have the awareness of knowing who they are?
I just have the awareness, and also they have to. We have to keep them a secret until the solar flash. once the solar flash takes place and we all become upgraded, right? There's going to be different levels of upgrades depending on your level of frequency. These are going to, these people are going to be the most powerful ones. Yeah, they're going to be like superhumans, like Supermans.
So who are going to be, no wonder it's all these Marvel movies. So
exactly,
right? Who are being upgraded? Every single human on this earth, or just star seeds?
Every single human that makes the shift, at least into the fourth dimensional Earth.
Mm.
And they're going to be there's going to be different levels of upgrade, Tina. There's going to be the majority of the people that are considered young souls or Earth Terrans, non-star seeds, are going to be going into the fourth dimensional Earth. So they're still going to, be mortal. They're just going to live for 300 years. Their lifespan's going to increase. Okay. They're not going to have any powers or anything, but they're also going to be living in a type of world where there is no illnesses or disease. So they're going to be very healthy. And then the next level of upgrades is going to be the star seeds that are going to break off into 3 brackets. So you have the millions of star seeds that are going to be, they're going to have a gift. They're going to be like wizards. They're going to be healers, like a person who could put a hand on you and use energy to heal you instantaneously on the spot. A person who is able to communicate with the spirits and with the earth elements and, have these clairvoyant abilities at full blast. Okay. And then above them, you're going to have kind of like X-Men. You're going to have people that are going to have either teleportation abilities, telepathy abilities, flight abilities. They're going to be able to fly, defy gravity. But each one's going to have one gift. And then beyond that, you're going to have the people that are going to just have every power. They're going to be able to stop time, manipulate reality at will. They're going to be like gods.
Yeah, it's fascinating because when I was young, I was born in Buddhism. So I used to read a lot about different monks who went into forest or jungle and just stay there and meditate. And they just had this power. They just have this power to just fly. So a lot of people saw them fly or teleport.
Exactly.
And it was just kind of hard to believe, but that's what they have been happening back, long time ago. So I guess this is sort of probability that could happen to each one of us, right?
Yes, and they're already planting that possibility through these Marvel and DC movies. Yes.
So what power would you have?
I guess
since you are star seed, right?
Correct. I guess I really don't know until we transform, and then we'll all find out.
Do you know who are, like, when you come across people, do you know who are starseed and who are not, who are young souls?
Yes, they have a particular energy signature. When you come across a starseed or an old soul, a god or goddess that decided to become human for the time, to help raise the planet, they have a very particular frequency about them.
And what is that like? Can you share?
Yeah, it's a very strong vibration that not all the other humans have. Most humans vibrate at a hertz from 170 to 200. And then the star seeds or the celestials in human form, the advanced souls, vibrate at a hertz anywhere from 600 to 1,000 hertz per second. So it's a huge difference in vibration.
Wow. And would those people aware that they are star seeds, or they have that vibration?
At this time, yes, most of them are now, because the things are shifting. Right now we're entering a new earth, a higher vibration for the collective. So I think by now most of them are aware of who they are. Yes.
Oh, beautiful. So you said it's coming pretty soon, all this shifting and change, and also the Descendants.
Exactly. Well, I predicted sometime between 2020 or 2019 and 2023, 24. So any day now.
Yeah, astrologically, a lot of people talk about those years as well. In 2024, 25, there's going to be a huge change with the earth and everyone in earth, and so I guess that's pretty much the energy shift that you were talking about with all this change. Now, with all these changes, would it come across as negative changes first for most humans before it becomes good? Do you know what I'm talking about? People talk about revolution, or talking about collapsing of the government or banks or whatever, or cabal going down.
Yes, that's there are so many probabilities, so many possible reality scenarios that are going to be unfolding. So
Yeah.
in one aspect or in one timeline, yes, we're going to see the collapse of governments, societal structures, reality as we know it. In another timeline, where it's just going to be a gradual shift, where it's like you're in this world right now, and then within seconds you're in a different world, but it's the same Earth but in a different dimension. And in another timeline, the changes are going to be taking place in 8 years. It's going to lead up to that, and so things might get worse before they get better. So it all depends on which timeline you are on. There's going to be different timelines, but eventually those timelines are going to be splitting as well. So not everybody's good right now. They're all coexisting, but soon there's going to be the bifurcation, where depending on where you're resonating and vibrating, you're going to end up on one of those particular timelines.
So you talk about depending on where you're resonating, meaning our own energy, our thoughts, our emotion, correct?
Absolutely correct. Yes.
If we're negative, we're depressed, whatever it is, then we're going to the lower Earth.
Yeah, if you're negative, you're going to stay in the third dimensional Earth, which is going to go into a timeline where eventually humans will merge with technology. Cyborgs are going to be a future reality. AI is going to be in control, and you don't want to end up in that timeline.
You don't want to end up in that timeline.
Yeah. They call that the singularity by 2045. If those that go into that timeline by 2045, all androids will be doing, humans will no longer be able to work or anything, because they're eventually the androids are going to take over, and the artificial intelligence will rule the world. And then
so,
go ahead.
So what is like on the other side then, on opposite, the other side of the Earth?
What do you mean the other side?
Well, because you said the other side, by 2045 there will be all AI and all those intelligence, robots and all that stuff.
Right.
But if we are not on that side, but we'll be on a different side, what would that
be? On the positive side, then the artificial intelligence, which is the negative technology that was given to us by the evil aliens or the evil ETs, is going to be destroyed when the solar flash takes place. And the Earth will be once again back to its original natural state of being, without the negative technology, only the good technology that's going to be beneficial for humanity, the animals, and of course the ecosystem.
Oh wow, okay. So how would we see that? Can people see clear how it's shifting and changing from this point on?
Yes,
or because it's only go ahead.
It's already happening on an energetic level. So it's just a matter of it materializing and manifesting in the physical level.
Wonderful, wonderful. That sounds kind of exciting. What about those people who there's so many people who passed during this time because of COVID and all this, pandemic?
In other words, they were murdered by Dr. Fauci. Yeah,
hallelujah.
He's actually facing trial right now by the White Hats, and it's soon going to be announced to the general public once the White Hats take over the mainstream media. But he's been convicted of developing the AIDS virus, HIV, and of course developing this I don't want to call it COVID, I guess, whatever you want to call it, right?
So what happened to those who passed? Is that because of that's what's the delaying of the lifetime that is supposed to be here? Those who were affected and killed by COVID.
Depending on their soul contract, they're either going to they're either in the fifth dimensional Earth already waiting for the rest of us, or they moved on to another planet that is still a third dimensional planet just like this one, and then they're going to continue those lessons until they evolve or at least graduate from the third dimensional reality. Depending on their soul contract, we're all, some of us are going to see our loved ones, they're already there in the fifth dimensional Earth, right? That's what we call heaven on Earth.
Right,
the fifth dimensional reality is heaven.
and do you know your soul contract, Ismael?
Yeah, I know my soul contract. Yes.
You know your soul contract?
Yes.
Would you mind sharing what your soul contract is?
Well, I can't really describe it. It's very long and detailed, but you could say that I'm here to lead the future war against artificial intelligence and do a ultimate battle against AI that will pretty much restore the entire cosmos back to the organic way of life. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. I noticed that too. A lot of people now are, with the pandemic, people are more conscious of what they eat, and everything has to be organic, and everything has to be natural. A lot of people are waking up now and
They
seeing
are,
more
yeah.
clearly that we have been poisoned with all these foods and everything around us. So I mean, what timeline would that be? Would it be in this in our lifetime, or organically? I mean, when the Earth's changing to the better Earth, how long is that going to be? Because I know it's going to take some time, right?
Well, it all depends on which. I mean, it could happen this weekend. I mean,
really,
at the rate that these CMEs are coming in, X-class solar flares, it's probably going to happen in the next few days. I'm not sure, but in the event that it does, it's best to be prepared and be centered and have all your wounds cleared and your lower densities, right, so that you could be able to absorb all that light energy vibration that's going to change your body into a butterfly, right? Instead of being a caterpillar.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So, God, I had a question earlier and I just went blank. I couldn't think of that question. That was like fascinating question I want to ask too, but that's okay. Probably it's not meant to be.
Okay,
but anyway,
so what's the connection between the King of Lyra and King David, or the lineage of Jesus and Mary Magdalene and Zeus? It is the same bloodline. So this war between the Holy Grail and the Cabal lineage of Babylon goes back to the galactic war between the Orion Draconian Empire, which is the progenitor of the Cabal, right? By the way, the Cabal are the descendants of the Orion elite families that at one time wanted to conquer the entire galaxy. And then the good guys are traceable back to the Lyra constellation, to a planet called Avion. Mm-hmm. Avion was the original Earth. In fact, this is known as the third Earth grand experiment. The first experiment failed due to the galactic wars with the Draco. The second experiment failed in the Pleiadians, when Earth was also in the Pleiadian system as Avion, rotating around Alcyon. It failed because of the galactic wars with the Draco. And now this one is not supposed to fail. This one is supposed to actually, become successful. And that's what's happening now. We're winning the war against the Draco, and we have already in the galaxy. So it's just a matter of time before it manifests here in our world, and that's what we're going to be witnessing soon. So the original descendants of King David, whose bloodline was brought to the earth by Zeus and Lil, right? The good Anunnaki, not the one, not Enki Poseidon, could be traceable all the way to Lyra.
Oh wow, that's fascinating.
Zeus was a descendant of the King of Lyra, and I talk about him in my book. His name was Amelius.
Yes, and the blue being, you mentioned about blue being before. You just mentioned a name.
Well, there's different ones. There's the Maharashi,
mm-hmm.
And then there's also the ones that came from Sirius.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are called the Maharashi. An example of a blue being was Krishna. Krishna was blue. Yeah, so he came to India. He's part of the Syrian High Council.
Is he part of Zeus too? Because I noticed, like, in every culture, their mythology, usually they come into like a trinity.
Yes,
like Shiva, Kali, and Ganesh, and then Zeus, and in every culture. Mm-hmm.
Yes, they're the same. Zeus and Krishna are actually part of the same lineage. Yes, they come from Sirius. And
That's what I thought.
Yeah, and they each carry a pure lineage of Lyrian, Pleiadian, and Syrian. Yes.
That's beautiful. Oh, wow. This is a fun one. This is a very fun one, Ismael. So I know you have time that you have to, end, so we're going to end it right now because you have to take a trip, get ready for that. But I really, really want to thank you for being here, because this is very fascinating and gives a lot of hope to a lot of people who see, how everything's going so bad right now. But, with all this thing that's going on, there's a blessing behind those doors, and but I agree with that. I have been noticed a changing of the energy in the past, several years. And I've been seeing a lot of changes, and I think this is a time that we are going to witness all these changes. So that's absolutely beautiful. So I want to thank you, Ismael, for being here
You're welcome.
today and
You're
share
welcome.
with us all this fascinating story. And guys, don't forget to pick up his book because he wrote a lot of stuff. I haven't finished, I got the Kindle, but I haven't finished reading it. So I want to start reading that because I love the talk today. So this is amazing. It really,
Yeah.
I really felt resonate with what you shared today too. Very much so. It's what I've been known a long time ago. So with that said, Ismael, thank you so much for being here. And we'll come back again and talk some more about it.
You're welcome.
Thank you
Tina.
so much. Yes, you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
You do the same.
And guys, don't forget to share this video if you like it. Share with your friends, share it on social media. You can subscribe, click like, and don't forget to buy his books. He has in book format and also in Kindle. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful